Welcome to Projects for All. My name's Mike, and today we got an upgraded fence for this DeWALT table saw that has been a popular subject on this channel. This is a TSO, larger, slotted, upgraded fence, and it's 50 bucks, which is a sweet deal. You get a sacrificial fence with it and the hardware to attach everything. So today we're going to install this on this old table saw. It's the same one we've been doing for years now. You guys hit me up in the comments and tell me what you would use this for. This doesn't come with any handwritten instructions, but there is a QR code, which I scanned, that gives us some pretty clear directions. I was a little bit worried because the fence here looks a little bit different. This is a type 1, and apparently there are multiple types of this saw. Type 1, 2, 3, and 10 are compatible with this setup. So we should be good to go. This should be simple enough. The instructions show a newer version of this where there's a torque screw on the end here that this fence doesn't have. This is an older version, so all we're gonna have to do is remove this auxiliary fence here, and then the 4 bolts on the back side. 4 bolts on the back side will come off of here, and of course our push stick mount. So we got an 8mm and a Phillips head to get the auxiliary fence off. Just a little self-tapper with the washer. There's our auxiliary fence. Put that aside. There's our end cap. All we have to do is install the screws back in it. It is that simple. So these have the same range of motion as the original holes did for the original fence. We're just going to leave these on loose. I'll reinstall this fence on the saw and we'll check to make sure it's set at the proper height. Simple enough. Not lose our screws. And now it's nice and loose and we can set a height from the table. All I did was put a couple pieces of scrap cardboard on the bottom here, and we'll press down on that, and that should give us enough clearance from the table. Keep in mind you're screwing these bolts into plastic, so we're going to go super gentle doing this. Nice and smooth. Very nice. One last little step. Our aux fence just fits on there. We can snap it down here, and then we'll install the screw right there. Crazy simple. And we got ourselves a nice new, little bit taller, fancy fence to attach some stuff to. Perfect. Couldn't ask for much more than that. Last but not least, we'll pull the brackets off for our push stick and install them here, and that's it. I wish I could show you the push stick, but I failed to get that when I went and got the saw. There we go. I'm not going to bore you guys to death with this, but we're a little bit off. I have this loosened up. Just this side I loosened up. We'll tap this over. Oop, too far. Oh, way too far. So there's 0. We'll tighten this one down. All right, so tap to 0. The other side's at 0. I pulled this over, and well, we're close. Yeah, we're still off by 3 thou maybe. I can live with that. I'm sure we could get a little better, but good enough for me. We're not totally perpendicular here. The top of this is pitched back ever so slightly. You can hear it. But honestly, I can shim the base probably to get rid of that. but it's very slight. And for this demonstration, I'm going to leave it, but really you could shim the base or possibly shim the way this bolts down. I think it's fine. So we got a few things to attach to this, which I think are going to be cool. The sacrificial fence was included. Very nice, pre-cut, pre-drilled, I should say. So you could pick these up for about 20 bucks, 25 bucks off TSO's website. And then all this stuff is available there too. We got clear-cut stock guides. I've been wanting to check these out for a long time, and I finally have a reason to do it. These are machined, one-way rollers, urethane O-rings, adjustable. You got an in-feed and an out-feed, and it comes with an Allen key. You adjust them. Super cool. And then we got the Hedgehogs. I've also wanted to check these out. We got a couple minis that we can mount to our fence, and then we got a big one that we can mount to our table. Because if you guys have watched my videos for any amount of time, you know that I get a little squirrely on the table saw. And I get a comment once in a while about lift or walking away from the fence, and you know, hey, we're all human. So let's throw our sacrificial fence on. We'll see how that fits real quick, and then we'll throw this stuff on and we'll run a few boards through here just to check it out. This takes all of about a second to install. You got your washer and bolt. We drop that in. Then we got our slotted nut. I don't know what you would call this. And they just screw on the back side there. There you go. And they'll just fit in the slots. The way they staggered these is actually kind of nice, because as you feed them into the slots, you can get to do it one by one instead of a pair at a time. And it's actually not that bad feeding these in here. Just line up. Perfect. So got a little bit of adjustability. We can just shim the bottom and tighten this down. Just a little snug. Ain't going anywhere. There you go. Sacrificial fence, secure. Nice. Very nice. Should take all of about a second to uninstall this. All the hardware is captive, of course, so you can just slide this on and off willy-nilly. Mini Hedgehog, same story. Loosen them up a little bit. They jump right in the slot. It's about 1 second to install these. Got a giant range of adjustability. Very cool, man. Easy, fast to move. How could you not want this? You got the big Hedgehog. This thing's cool. I like the adjustable miter slot. This is aluminum. There's a bolt with a taper that just fits inside this, and then it spreads as you tighten it. That is a very cool design. Maybe the washer goes on this side? I was wrong. Washer on top. Very fast and adjustable. This has nothing to do with that fence, but you know what? If you're gonna buy one, why not buy the other? Yep, more secure with the washer on top. Still moves a little bit. Pretty tight. These are pretty cool. They're tapered, so they force the stock, the stock, they'll force the board into the fence, which is cool. These just unscrew, they get loose, and you slide right into the top of this fence here. Both go into the top, and now you get plenty of adjustability. You get one there, and then you can still adjust. All right, so we have a problem. One small problem with this design, and it's really nobody's fault. This long extension on here was designed by DeWALT for forces exerted on the fence in that direction, of course. Yep. Forces exerted on this fence upward, as in stock under here, pressing up on these wheels or feather boards, flexes this plastic fence. And it's not TSO's fault. They can't redesign the saw. I suspect that TSO looked at sales numbers and said, this DeWALT is wildly popular. It's been out for a dozen years or so, I'm sure. And DeWALT has sold tons of these things. So it only makes sense from a business standpoint to make it for the most popular saw. Why wouldn't you? But this design just doesn't lend itself well. However, when you push this out, you can use the fence extension still. It even deploys over these. And now the stock is sitting on this and pushing up. And that totally negates that design. We'll call it a flaw, but it's just the design. So if you're cutting a sheet of plywood or a wide board and it's out past the actual table, you don't have that problem. It's not an issue. Why would you want to use these if you're doing plywood? Well, they still force the stock into the fence, which is good, man. You're going to get a straighter cut. It makes sense to use them, and I still like it. I still like this fence a lot. I was going to build an L-shaped fence for this video and just ran out of time. So we don't have that to show you, but this issue wouldn't be an issue with that, and that's wildly useful. There's a really cool article in Fine Woodworking magazine online, I believe. I'll link it in the description about L-shaped fences and all the different things you can do with them for woodworking. But every once in a while, I get a comment from you guys asking me what I do with all the tools I review, and the answer is almost all of them I keep, which completely clogs up my life. However, occasionally, I get to make a good point because I do that. These are 5 fences for 5 table saws that we've done recently, sort of recently. This is the 8 1/4 skill saw, the 10-inch skill saw. This is the Bosch GTS 1510. This is the little red skill that everyone loves. And this is the Cobalt, which is junk. Here's the thing. These designs, which are also super popular saws, they bolt on the same way. It's just the same piece of aluminum as the TSO fence and the DeWALT, but there's no long extension for flex. They mount here on a stud and they clip in hard, and that's in line with the fence. And all of these would be a better choice than the DeWALT for that style fence. So I think TSO would be absolutely insane not to build this super nice fence design for these popular saws, especially the skill saw. You imagine the extra utility you get out of this little cheap skill saw, which is such nice quality, if it had 3 slots on the face of this and you could attach things to it. I suppose there is technically a slot on the top. I've never tried to attach anything to it. The skill saws have slots on the face, but there's no way to put anything in them. They are, I think, just for rigidity and strength. The Cobalt is, I'll call it a ripoff of the DeWALT, but a lot of people say that the Master Force, which is, I don't know, a ripoff of the Cobalt, is a ripoff of a Metabo. So this would also be a poor choice for TSO's pretty awesome fence. You guys tell me what you think. I think this old table saw is just as awesome as the day I reviewed it like 2 years ago. Eventually, I suppose we should get a new one, but you tell me. There's so many versions of this, as evidenced by the manual for this fence. You guys tell me, is the new design any better? Does the new design do this? I suspect it does. I looked at the pictures, but I haven't used a brand new DeWALT of this style. They're up to version 10 apparently. This is version 1, so for 50 bucks, despite this, it's totally worth it, and it still works pretty good. You guys tell me if you think this is going to affect your cut if you actually get some lift on this while you're cutting. I think it's going to be negligible at best. I don't think it's really an issue, but it's something you should know about because this fence design lends itself better to the clip-on style with the hooks that grab and the bolts that sit right there. That design will be solid. So the skill saw, the little skill saw, and more importantly, the $280 red skill. That one, man, you can't beat the value of that. And with the $50 fence upgrade, you got so many more options. So tell me in the comments, what do you guys think? Would you shell out 50 bucks for this? I suspect you might. Hit like and or subscribe if you want to. Maybe I'll see you in the next video.